Hey, welcome back. I'm Julene and I'm the co host of The Roast.
Welcome, everyone. My name's Davey A, and I have a better voice than Jules right now.
I know I sound terrible. I have like some super mutant cold. That is not COVID.
A super mutant cold sounds epic, especially if it's
Well,
got some kind of superpowers on the side of it. I don't know. Maybe.
yeah, unless you consider endless boogers like a superpower.
More of a curse than anything else. Bless you.
Oh, no, maybe I'm a bioweapon.
Oh, she's got the T virus, everyone. Steer clear.
Yeah, I'm a bioweapon now. Like, how dare you? Ha! I'll be spitting like reptile. Take
Wow.
this. Take this super mutant cold.
Wow. What a great way to start the show.
I know. So, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to roast Morbius. Let in true roast tradition, I will play y'all the trailer. We're going to react to said trailer. Let's
Let's see what happens.
Here we go. Morbius trailer. Seriously, I should have known from this right here that it was gonna be.
Fighting's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
Oh wait, oh crap! I think this one's. I think that one's.
It's
in
off to a
Hindi.
flying start, everyone.
I know. Here we are. I'll skip the ad.
New Fructis Sleek and Shine Glass Water.
I guess you can't skip the ad.
You need a doctor? I am a doctor. I should have died. People all over the world have my disease. From here. To find a cure, we have to push the boundaries, take the risks. You're gonna run. Now.
See, nothing good ever comes of
Morbius,
catching animals that can eat you.
they were found on the container ship washed up all along.
When you're alone.
What did you do to yourself, Doctor?
Oh god.
How was your name?
It's Cryrese.
I went from dying to being more alive than ever.
It worked.
Not exactly. I have increased strength and speed, and some form of bat waving. What else can I do?
The little hairs coming out of his ear.
Flight. Typical of that.
There are limits. There has to be.
There's something inside of me. It wants to hunt and consume blood.
When you were strange,
Can you control it? Half the city wants to kill you. Wants to
Yes,
control
it's Doctor Who.
It is.
The first Batman.
I did anything to save my life. I don't know what I'm capable of.
You save lives, you don't take them. Are you here to heal the world? Or to destroy it?
Yeah.
Wanda.
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Morbius at your service.
Perhaps one of the only saving graces of the movie was the that little nod to a previous film.
Or
I mean,
the
I'm
end
sporting a
credit.
Marvel top, but as I said to many people, this movie was not Marvel-us at all.
No, it really
I hate to
wasn't.
say.
It was awful.
I mean, I love
Um,
the franchise. I love the character. I've read him in lots of literature and seen various TV versions, albeit animated ones. But
yeah,
I had high hopes, and sadly, it wasn't given to me on screen what I hoped to see.
well, I mean, okay, so let's start with the script. Um, I've been rating films on 5 things: 2 points for the script, 2 points for performance, 2 points for cinematography, 2 points for set pieces, 2 points for costuming. I believe on It Goes Down to the PM, I gave it 5 bats out of 10. Uh,
Generous.
I was being generous because of Matt Smith.
Really, I mean, having Matt Smith in it for me hindered the movie. No offense to Matt Smith, but I think the character he played, Lucian, was not a good one. And spoiler alert aside, because obviously we are spoiling the film for a lot of people. I think his character was just something of a plot filler. You didn't necessarily need his character in there, but I guess there had to be an antagonist in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like he needed a villain.
Yeah,
But I
wasn't a
mean,
good one.
he was there with, I guess he was working with the script he was given,
Yeah,
and that's why I gave the performance, for performance, I did give a point for Matt Smith.
it was nice to have him in there. Obviously, he's an established actor and he's been in a few other things other than Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Terminator
like
Genesis being one of them. But
and he was in Doctor Who, Confessions of a London Call Girl, with Billy Piper, another Doctor Who veteran,
yeah,
who only the best companion ever.
what you think? Rose Tyler was the best one.
Yes, I'm like Team Rose Tyler and Tennant.
Oh, the old double T. Bless.
Yeah, I see, but it confused me at first that there was all the kissing and the romance and stuff because, you know, if we go by canon, Doctor Who doesn't get with his companions.
No, he never does.
But I guess Rose Tyler, like, I don't know, this happened with Rose Tyler and I was okay with it.
Well,
And
that was
then,
because it was the clone of Doctor Who, wasn't it? When he had the other, he kind of had that. Was it a hand or something that grew to be another Doctor, and it was
yeah,
that
and
Doctor she
see,
went off with?
yeah, he was like, he liked his face, so he chose his face. Hand got cut off. The hand grew another Doctor Who, and she was like, "Okay, I guess I'll take the, I'll take the invitation."
Yeah,
But
sure. Why
even
not? Why not?
even the not the doctor that was the real doctor, he loved her. Like
Of
he
course.
never got to tell her though because the supernova cut off.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm burning a sun just to say goodbye. Like that is it's like tell a girl you love her without saying you love her. I'm burning a sun to say goodbye.
It's still up there as one of the best scenes in any of the more recent Doctor Who's. That whole build up of Tennant visiting all the people he's interacted with and saying goodbye to them, even with a simple
Yeah.
stare before obviously the regeneration scene happened. It was a nice nod, a nice bowing out of Tennant's version. And it says it all when we've come on to talk about Morbius, and straight away we've jumped into Doctor Who because it's more interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry,
So,
everyone.
so the script is trash. I'm gonna come right out and say number one, Script is trash. The script gets no love whatsoever. But performances, I give a point for Matt Smith.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a gamble when you take on a character that isn't that well known in terms of movies, especially with Morbius being an anti-hero. They've tried it with Venom. It kind of paid off. So I guess Sony wants to try another, dark hero and see what would come of it.
Didn't
But
know. The first Venom was like jam packed with unnecessary dialogue.
yeah,
Carnage, the Let There Be Carnage, was like action, 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 punctuated by tiny blips of dialogue.
I think with Sony, as much as they try, they don't have the knowledge and the know-how to produce a good superhero film. Now they have made a lot of films, and Sony is a really great company. But in terms
Yeah,
of superhero movies, they should just let Marvel take all the rights back and produce them themselves because they do such a good job.
yeah, Feige, they got Feige. Like they need to just let him do his thing.
Exactly.
It does not make sense. Just
I
say
get it. It's Sony wanting to keep hold of certain characters so they can make money themselves, and that's fine from a business standpoint. But
but
the loyal fans want to see really good produced films that are true to the source material and the characters they've grown up with as kids.
are they really making money if it's trash?
I mean, people are still going to cinema to watch it. Us
Yeah,
included. We've paid to see this film, so they are
yeah,
making money. Maybe not as much as they would have hoped, but
yeah,
butts in seats makes a result. So
yeah.
there will be more to come, and obviously as we continue the chat, we will address things like potential sequels and crossovers and whatnot, because there were a lot of references to potential follow-ons. So
Yeah,
they are obviously
the
investing money into further projects with these characters.
the end credit scene was kind of like hinting that No Way Home had more of effect on the multiple universes than
Yeah,
they originally thought.
definitely. The whole with and again, spoiler alert if you've not seen No Way Home, but with the spell cast so that nobody remembers who Spider-Man's real name is, and you see Vulture referring to him as Spider-Man when previously he knew his identity. He obviously had his mind wiped. He now doesn't know who he really is. He just refers to him as Spider-Man, and there's that potential hint at a Sinister Six link to a movie. Maybe there could be a villain-based film coming out. Who knows where they're going to take it? But Morbius himself, I don't know. I've always fancied him as a bit of a good guy at heart. Yes, he's vampiric and he's got a lust for blood or plasma. In the the animated version, they couldn't have him blood sucking, so they had him taking plasma from people's bodies. But tries to do it in a good way. And this was just too much. He's a killer vampire that just can't control his urges. I don't know. It was more of a monster flick than it was a comic book film for me.
The jump scares, the jump scares for me, and the effects, like the makeup effects, were terrible. Like I was expecting something fantastic. I mean, we're in 2022. Why do we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer level makeup effects?
Yeah, you remember those amazing scenes when like Angel would turn into vampire? You just see the things come on like Worf from Star Trek, just stuck onto his head, but they made it look legitimate. I don't know. It's a different production company. They had obviously budget restraints and timescales to get it out by. Yes, it could have looked more polished, but I guess they did the best they could.
Yeah.
And it just gives us more ammunition for us to use when we want to tear it to shreds, like Morbius's claws did to most of those guys' necks.
Yes, can we talk about the set piece that is the container ship? I love that set piece with the coloring and it was like, and then it was like out of the and then people coming up on the thing, and it's like next to who, and he's getting pulled. Like lots of lots of jump scares
It's
and
good.
like
It's something that it needed. I mean, it is essentially an action horror superhero movie. So you expect lots of dark scenes with people having their throats cut and people being grabbed into the distance. I like that element of it. There was that, the essence of he's hidden in the shadows and he's just going to take people. A bit like the sequence in Batman versus Superman towards the end, the actual good Batman scene when Batman goes to rescue Martha Kent and takes all the bad guys out, lots of grabbing guys in midair and throwing them and sneaking up behind them, that kind of thing. Obviously, I'm not saying these two films are identical and similar, other than there's Bat references, so they could be kind of similar. But I like that
they were
jumping
both
out the
pretty
jump scares, like you say. There are bats.
Yeah. No, well, I liked how the coloring and like the little stairwell, the dark red, it just brought it all together. Like this scene could not have existed without the container ship looking like that.
Yeah, it had to be lit that way. It had to be in a darkened environment. I love
With
the build up. We can only do this experiment in international waters, so we have to be on a container ship in the middle of the night where no one can get to us. It's the perfect setup for the scene.
with the lab and everything, with the chair, and then you could see the little bumps on his back.
Yeah,
And listen, if we're gonna do a vampire bat movie, vampire anything, can we come up with any other name for his nemesis than Lucian? Jesus, how many times are we gonna tell this story? How many?
yeah. It's just very very typical of that type of film. You could take the Marvel name away, and it would be just like any other vampire based movie.
Yeah, take it away, and it just be vampires versus werewolves. Head
Yeah,
werewolf is named Lucian. Can we come up with literally any other name for a werewolf?
I mean, if you want to watch a good vampire versus werewolf movie, you could watch something like Underworld. I'm not going to mention Twilight because that's not my cup of tea.
No, no.
But Underworld, again, not that great, but certainly
So
watchable.
I like the first one. I'm not
Yeah,
even like I would have played it the first one.
yeah, I'd say that's a good choice.
I'd have plated it, ate it, cleaned my plate. Like I would have really I really like that one.
And it's one of those films that kind of put Kate Beckinsale on the map, I suppose. I know she's quite an established actress anyway, but she kind of got noticed more for being in this kind of action, horror genre, I guess.
Yeah, between that and Van Helsing,
Of course, yeah, Van Helsing,
I
another
mean,
classic vampire werewolf horror franchise.
I'm not gonna say it was a great film, but it was cool to sit in the theater and not think about life for a while.
Yeah, it's the escapism. I mean, that's why we go to the
Yeah.
cinema. At the end of the day, we go to escape from the real world and get lost in, fantasy and drama and action and so on. But yeah, like you say, the plot is very, very blasé. He's got an illness. The only way to cure it, he thinks, is to use bat DNA to try and heal himself. And what happens when you stick, human and bat DNA together? Obviously, you're going to turn into a bat. Obviously, it makes perfect sense.
I just want to know how he came to the conclusion that human plus bat equals healing abilities. Because I guarantee you, a vampire bat, if you cut it, it'll die.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand how he just. You know what? I think I'll try. I've tried literally everything. Let's try vampire bats.
Why not? It's a bit like when the Andrew Garfield movies, the Spider-Man movies came out, and Lizard tried the same sort of thing, using lizard DNA, heal his arm, grow parts again, but obviously mutate into a gigantic lizard. You don't gamble with animal DNA. You don't do splicing. It's not right. If it was meant to be, we would have been born with these things already. So stop it. All you science
See,
geeks out there, stop putting, human and animal DNA together.
see, even the lizard thing I can accept because that makes sense. You want your arm to grow back. What animal in the animal kingdom regenerates their stuff?
Yeah.
Arms. Vampire bats are mammals that die same way we do, get sick same way we do. So I don't get it.
It was a way to go. I mean, admittedly I do prefer the animated version I've seen in the '90s Spider-Man show, which, as I mentioned earlier, that particular Morbius takes plasma or energy from people, but not by biting them. He has like suckers on his hands, so he would like put his hand on you and suck the energy from you. Because it was for kids at the end, they said they couldn't have guys flying around biting people's necks, so they turned into this "I'll suck your energy using my hand." But I liked that kind of toned down version of him. And
Yeah,
even when they did a Blade episode as well, where he chased him, it was
I
fun to
like
see.
the Batgirl version where they had the female, I forgot her name, female version, the female DC version of Morbius, where she she had a rare blood disease and she needed people to donate blood to her in order to live. So she wasn't like sucking or drinking their blood. She was kidnapping them and draining their blood and doing a blood transfusion.
Wow, I mean that's one way to do it, I guess.
I mean, that makes sense too. You know, with the vampire bats, that just does not make sense.
Hey,
I would have even accepted he got bit by an actual vampire and this is how this happened.
that would make more sense. That would, instead of all this experimentation and the whole like the chamber with the bats in the initial sequence when he cuts his hand open to entice the bats out of the cave. And then we realize he's actually trapped some of these bats and he's got them in a laboratory in like a big cylinder just flying around. And when he succumbs to these powers and stands in there, it's kind of it looks identical to that scene in Batman Begins when Bruce accepts the bats around him and just looks up as they all spiral around him. It was a complete nod to Batman Begins. I felt.
Yeah, it was. But, you know, like they've been copying each other for like DC and Marvel copies each other a lot.
Yeah, there's very similar characters across both sides, so you could argue they've used similar storylines, similar designs. I
But
just
DC
think,
came first, so Marvel is a copycat. So there.
yeah, technically, yeah. I do think though, the design of Morbius in vampire mode, it was a bit too freakish, I guess. I mean, you kind of expect the classic two fangs, maybe red eyes or something like that, but this was very monstrous. This was literally a human-sized bat,
Yeah.
which obviously for the story that was the whole premise. He's kind of trying to keep this monster version of him at bay, but I just felt it looked a bit too horrific.
Well, not it looked fake. Like it looked fake.
Well,
He looked like he was
it was
trick or
fiction.
treating.
I just
Like,
need you to realize it wasn't real.
yeah, it should have been better done. I don't know.
We all have high aspirations. Like I said, Sony took a gamble with an alternative character. Bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
But
Sony should aspire to sell the rights to someone who could do it properly.
I
And
guess they don't
give me
have many
some more
characters
Miles
left.
Morales, damn it.
Well, that's pending into is it Across the Spider Verse is it going to be called or Into the
Yes,
Spider Verse
across the
2? But it's been held
Spider-Verse.
back, I think, till 2023, 24, something like that.
Because they're obviously terrible people. Damn it, give me some Miles Morales.
Obviously, Julian is a massive Miles Morales fan. So for those of you who don't realize this, that's hair Spider-Man is Miles, and no
Yep.
other will do.
Yep.
And I can kind of relate because one of my sons is a massive Miles Morales fan, and I'm more of a Peter Parker fan. So I can accept both, but Miles is doing okay. He's coming up the
Tom
ranks.
Holland, Tobey Maguire. We do not accept Andrew Garfield in this house. No.
Wow.
So which was your favorite Spider-Man?
Are we talking in entirety? Or are we talking just like movies or?
In the movies.
See, I think Toby's up there as probably one of my personal favorites. Tom Holland's done a great job, don't get me wrong, but I've not really kind of bonded with his version of Spider-Man because it's all been kind of Tony Stark armor and gadgetry and all this kind of stuff. At least with the Tobey Maguire versions, they've been sort of true to the source material,
Yeah.
even though he gets the webbing from inside his skin, which will we'll brush that to one side. He's the one that looks more
The
true to
best
the original
line,
material. I know,
the
yeah.
best line from No Way Home was, "Does it come out anywhere else?"
And you know it's happened, but he just won't tell anyone. You know,
Yeah,
he
he's
gets a
like,
bit overexcited and,
"No."
oh God,
He's
I'm
like,
so sorry.
"No."
It's never happened to me before. Oh my God, it's gone everywhere.
Yeah, I
But I
think
do feel is the most true kind of movie version in terms of the story and how it was built up and the character portrayals and so on. Even having J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson was true to the voices that we used to hearing and the visuals we see in the comics and other movies and so on. I guess that's why they asked him to come back. But yeah, Tobey Maguire for me, I'd probably say Tom Holland second and Andrew Maguire third if I was just picking those particular three actors.
he said Andrew Maguire.
Did I say Andrew Maguire? Andrew Garfield. I'm so sorry, everybody. Andrew Garfield. Andrew Maguire. So sorry.
It's
But yeah,
okay because your
that's what I'd do.
brain
It'd
is
be
telling
Toby,
you when
Tom, Andrew in that
everybody
order.
knows that Toby's better than Andrew. But for me, I think if Miles Morales, if we're just talking about Peter Parker, then I think Tom Holland, because it always bothered me that Tobey Maguire looks so old for the
Yeah,
role. So I
that's
feel
fair.
like Tom Holland was believable as a high school student.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then Tom Holland doesn't have that horrible third film where he gets, he has to fight Venom and he becomes a like douchebag because Venom's there.
Do you think Andrew Garfield should have gotten a third film? Maybe he could have had his terrible third movie, or was
They're all
No
horrible
Way Home
movies.
his third film?
I feel like they're all terrible movies. So I don't think the baseline, I guess they figured, well, we already have your terrible movies, so we don't need a third terrible movie. We'll just
That's fair.
pick from the
That's fair.
2 terrible movies.
I was recently looking into, well, prior to having this chat, some like Morbius trivia, and I came across a unused scene, an alternate ending scene to the original Blade movie, which had a supposed Morbius cameo at the end of it. So after Deacon Frost is killed and they climb out into the sunshine, Blade kind of looks across the skyscrapers and there's a guy with a long flowing jacket on. So it's kind of a nod to what Morbius classically looks like with the long trench coat and the flowing hair and so on. And Blade's like, oh, pretty much I'm going to have to go back to killing vampires again. And that was an original proposed idea that the following film would have featured Morbius as the bad guy and not the Luke Goss character we got in the second Blade movie. But it obviously didn't happen. They went with a different ending and a different character and so on. But if you search online, I think it's on YouTube actually. Look for the alternative ending to Blade, and it was going to be Morbius as the next baddie.
I can't even imagine. I'm looking it up right now. Blade alternate ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to watch it now, surely.
Oh no, we're all gonna watch it now.
We're all going to watch it now.
We're all gonna watch it now. Okay.
Do you hear that, world? You're watching it.
Let's see. Blade alternate ending. Oh god. I cannot entertain footage that's terrible. Okay, I guess I will. I will entertain it. But give the people what they want.
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh,
Is it this one?
Yeah, so that image there is literally what was supposedly meant to be Morbius. I still love Blade. I still think it's a great movie.
It's too late.
I mean, the effects weren't that good, but obviously this is a pre-editing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some great blood special effects there. Wow.
Probably the same guy that did Morbius's face.
Well, see, this is still Deacon Frost. So the scene that we're looking for isn't until after he's defeated Frost, and then he kind of leaves and goes outside.
Yeah, so like,
These are all the alternative kind of action scenes that we didn't get in the final cut. But it's when he kind of goes out onto the rooftop
okay.
and chats with the female counterpart, whose name eludes me right now. But she's the doctor that kind of helps him to get through the serum. Oh, this must be it, I think. Yes, they're getting up to the top of the building, and you can see they're looking around.
Property of New Line.
Yeah, yeah.
It's over. You keep the cure. I've never felt better.
Never felt better. Yeah.
Besides, as long as there's a war, I still do a job.
Cool.
Yeah. And you're back in the club.
There he is. There he is. Damn. So that was meant to be Morbius. That's how he would have come into the franchise.
Oh,
I don't know.
wow.
I feel like that might have been a better version.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It'd be so hard because Morbius is like the somewhat good guy, sometimes good guy. So same as Blade. Blade is like the sometimes good guy.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know who to. That would be a way better story.
It would, because
That
it's a guy who's a vampire like Blade.
That was a Morbius that we should have gotten.
Yeah, definitely. And what a battle that would have been, because they're both able to go out into daylight, but both have vampire style powers. So it would have been a really good. Well, it would have been a really good movie had it been made. But sadly, New Line went down a different direction and brought in the alternative vampires from Luke Goss's spin-off with those crazy opening jaws and the tongues coming out and stuff. Ugh. No, thank you. No, thank you at all. But I did like, and I think we did mention it earlier, and we showed it in the trailer, the little nod to Venom when they were asking about who Morbius was, and he changed his face to go a bit vampiric and say, "I'm Venom," which already had a big nod to establishing that Venom was a known presence in the city, and he is the anti-hero, and people know what he looks like, all fangs and stuff. So it was great that he had a nod to Venom being in this same universe.
Yeah. Oh my god. Hey, you were a second Venom. I laughed about it and we roasted it. But I think like the scene when it's a romantic comedy about a breakup.
It really is.
Yeah, you see how he connects with other people and people are dying. He's like leaving a trail of bodies and he's like, I was so great. I wish you could have seen me. Yeah, he busts up dude's motorcycle, takes off with another person, gets a new body, eats everything he's not supposed to, gets a brand new body, a new outfit, and then goes out to the club. I'm telling you, that's a breakup film.
Definitely. I mean, in terms of follow-up movies, do you think, A, would you see them, and B, will they be worth it? Now, I know they're hinting at villains coming together for a potential Sinister Six movie. There's also talk, and it's only been rumored, but talk of a potential Blade crossover, because we know we're getting a new Blade at some point. Potentially, Blade goes on the hunt for Morbius. Who knows? Do you think the sequels, whatever they turn out to be like, will be worth going to see?
They'd have to pull some pretty amazing stuff out of their closet. I was gonna say ass, but Well, I don't see that's the thing. They're already giving us a whole lot of shit. So I don't want any more shit. So don't pull it out of your ass. Just they would have to come up with some pretty amazing stuff to get me to go out and see it. Like they would have to take Blade out of their closet. Um yeah, they would have to pull Blade out of the studio crates for me to take the time. Because even that third Blade film was questionable. Like, I had questions. They had that, like, they dug up the old guy. Why? The old guy pretended to be Blade so people would stop hunting him. But I'm over here like, I thought he was immortal.
It wasn't the best. Let's face it. It
It
really
was
wasn't.
very confusing, and that girl's hair did look ridiculous. It was like this. It was like this.
Hey, it's a classic style.
And then,
Nice.
like,
I can sort of do it, kind of.
and then,
I'm
like,
halfway there.
no, you know what? Their greatest sin is the fact that all the other girls tried to put their hair in this style. That is perhaps the the greatest sin of Blade Trinity.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best at all. I
I
just
was very
I don't
confused,
know.
but Norman Reedus, and Ryan Reynolds was fantastic.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting what they did with it. But in terms of this, I think the only reason they've kind of got our hopes up is because, like DC have done, they brought out the big gun, which is, of course, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
He's bringing life into both sides of the comic book world, DC and Marvel, by being two great characters. Arguably, DC's got the better one, but they're using this really established actor who's done really well in his life to bring life back into both of these comic book worlds. So it's great how he can be across both formats and do the job.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Keaton can do no wrong, basically.
He's a great actor, and I'm really excited to see what this newer, more updated version of his Batman will be.
Yeah. But
I'm excited.
did you like Pattinson?
Do you know? I know we never came on here to talk about the Batman, but I did think the Batman was amazing,
Yes,
and
me too.
I really loved it. It has been given both good and bad reviews by many people, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, I plan to watch it many, many times now that it's going to be out on. I think it's out on HBO at the moment, and it'll be
Yeah.
available to buy soon when it goes onto Blu-ray and so on. So yeah, it's going to have pride of place in my collection. I'll be watching it a lot.
First of all, the best Batmobile out of all the Batmobiles.
That's quite a statement. I don't
It
know. It's
is, and I
an
stand
imposing
by
vehicle,
it.
but I don't know.
It's like,
I think Keaton's
whoa.
has got the edge again.
No, I mean it was a Franken car. They took elements of like I saw a Charger in there.
Yeah.
I believe it was like a Mustang, and then I think I can't remember, but it's like traditional American muscle cars, and they just put it together in this monster Batmobile, and it was like, oh,
It's
like
amazing.
you could hear. I was like, yes,
I love
yes,
the jet engine. I love the kind of the blue coloration from the flame as well as it was taken off. It just looked amazing.
yeah,
A really good car. Really good car.
yeah.
But I do think Keaton's has got the edge in terms of style. I think visually it looks the better car because of the kind of long kind of drags, the sleekness of it, and the kind of contoured bat wings and so on. Just for my personal taste, I think his is the more appealing visually.
I think as far as it's so low to the ground. See, I was still like I was a really little kid when I saw the Batman for the first time with Keaton. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it. It's like my number 2 or 3 Batman film.
Okay.
Mask of the Phantasm is number 1.
What a movie.
It's the
Amazing.
best. best one. And so, I think with that one, even as a little kid, I always was like, how is it not hitting, scraping? Because, I love cars. In
Hmm.
'89, I was only like 7 years old, but I still wondered how this Batmobile wasn't scraping bottom and how it was slaying all the bad guys, being so low, sleek, and it didn't get a single scratch. And I was like, is it? No. See, this Batmobile makes sense because Batman in Battinson's world, Batman is scary. He's
Yeah.
like horror. Villains are scared of him. He's not like campy. He's not for the play. So it made sense to me that Batman would have a car that would say, "Look, I'm a motherfucking monster. Try me if you want to."
Yes. That's exactly what it says,
Yeah.
word for word.
Yep. That's it. He had. It was just. I was all the way down, and like you know the shot when Penguin's car was upside down.
Yeah, that's such a cool shot. I mean, a lot of people were kind of doing this in the cinema so they could see Pattinson upright, but no, you need to see it from the perspective of Penguin. He is coming towards him upside down, and it's quite imposing.
Yeah,
It's just a cool scene, and it's a great movie.
yeah. I love that movie. I don't know. It might have displaced Batman Returns in my number 3.
Wow. Okay.
That's a lot because I think Michelle Pfeiffer was a great Selena Kyle.
Yeah, fantastic. Arguably the best Catwoman.
Right? She like
Arguably.
I feel like she really embodied the rage and vengeance and betrayal. She did a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
I
And still
just,
to this day is again one of the best Catwomen.
because look
On
who
screen.
else played her, Halle Berry. That movie, we will not speak of that movie.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway was meh,
Meh. She was meh.
meh.
Eartha
And
Kitt.
then Zoe Kravitz, she
Of
was
course, yeah.
like, she wasn't terrible, but she wasn't better than Michelle Pfeiffer.
I think what with this film is because it's technically year 2 for Batman, so it's still very early days in terms of him being a crime fighter, and a lot of the villains have only just started out. So I think future films going on, we might see her develop more into the classic, traditional kind of Catwoman character. She's still very much new to being a criminal and so on. So she's finding her feet, as it were, or
Yeah,
a pause, as it were.
yeah. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was like pretending to eat birds and blowing up stores, department stores. So
Each version's good and bad for its,
I
for lots of
like,
different reasons. But I think, yeah, like you say, Michelle Pfeiffer is definitely probably the best one in
yeah,
terms of live action, anyway.
Eartha Kitt is pretty compelling too.
Yeah, she was a good actress to play Catwoman. Obviously Julie Newmar, the previous Catwoman at the time. But so many versions. There's so many good and bad ones to take. I do feel like we need to get some closure on this this
The Rogues.
vampiric Marvel character that is no way near as good as Batman, but has batty powers.
See, look at that. 5 minutes in, we're talking about Doctor Who, and then we got 15 minutes left, and we're talking about Batman. Why? Because they are far more interesting than this film.
I think as a whole, the film was entertaining, but wasn't very enjoyable. I guess most people that go to see it have an opinion of their own. They've read literature to do with Morbius, or they've seen him in a cartoon or an animated spin-off or something like that. So they have specific ideas and visuals they want to see, and we didn't get. I think Jared Leto did the best he could with a poor script.
Yeah.
Credit to him for giving it a go. He tried.
He's a
just
method actor, so he really tried to be Morbius.
yeah, he did the best he could. It just wasn't for him. I think certain projects with him do well and certain ones don't, and this sadly was one of the ones that didn't work out, in my opinion. Again,
Yeah.
this is just our opinions that we're saying here, folks. Please go and see the film and make up your own minds and let us know what you think, because these are
Just
just our
wait
views.
for it to stream, though.
Yeah,
Don't
maybe
pay
wait for that.
$10.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, wait till it's out on DVD and Blu-ray or something. Do it that way.
Yeah.
The premise of this show, though, has always been, when we rate these things, we do it in the form of, will we want to, plate it up and eat it again, or will we throw it in the trash or the bin? From my side of the Atlantic, anyway.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it goes without saying. I think I know what you would do with this particular serving.
Wait, where you did it and where you played it.
As so well modelled by Julian there, will you bin it or plate it? For me, I know it's going to go straight in the bin. I
for
don't
me
wish
too.
to ever watch this movie ever again.
If I never lay eyes on this film, I will be okay.
Yeah, it's a gap filler of a movie. Yes, it brings certain characters back via cameos or end sequences that will be prepared for a future film, but you don't need to see it again unless you really, really want to see every single character that comes out
The
on screen.
second act drags too. Like,
Yeah.
I had to go see this film twice because I fell asleep during the second act. Yeah, it was terrible. It was just
Wow.
as terrible the first time as the first time around.
Not good. Not good.
Like,
The
I
fact you went
literally,
twice to see it, it says, it tells me that you're very dedicated in getting an opinion on a film. But
yeah.
it's not
I
a film
do
I'd
it
go and
for
see again.
y'all. I do it for you guys. See,
See,
I
this is
do
the
it for
kind of
you.
service we provide. We do this. We tear these movies to shreds so you don't have to see them. But by all means, do so if you want to form your own opinion. But we're trying to help you here. We're trying to save you money and time and effort.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
We waste our time so you don't have to.
If you want to see Morbius, either find a way to stream it or go and buy it. The 1990s animated Spider-Man TV show, because the Morbius in that was way better than this, what we got now. So, yeah. It's not a good movie. Don't like it. Don't want to watch it again. It sucked. It's rubbish.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
In fact, once it's in the bin, I'm going to incinerate the bin. So it's just a pile of ash.
Yeah. So we're going to bin it and burn it.
Yeah. Read it the last rites.
All right. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because this movie is in the bin and it will never come across our paths again. Amen.
Thank you for that. So yeah, there you go. There you go. Morbius. Don't watch
it. I saw the Rotten Tomato scores. I was like, oh Jesus, okay. The Rotten Tomato scores are so bad. I was like, there's no way this got this low a score. Like, nothing gets this low a score.
And yet there you go. Again, they've tried. They've tried to bring another character into the world, but they just didn't do it well enough. So
just stay with Miles Morales.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's the Miles Morales show and you want to see more of him. Blah, blah, blah.
Just stay with Miles Morales and Tom Holland. Just stay with your spider people. Because that's the one thing y'all are doing well right now.
Exactly. Do that. Do that and keep everybody happy.
Exactly. So we've roasted Morbius. It's roasted and toasted and in the bin, y'all.
Absolutely.
So tune in on the 15th. Look, I know we're late. I know we're late.
We've had things going on, okay? Sometimes schedules have to be moved.
Yeah, you know, there was vacation, and then who would have thought people still get colds, get sick with things other than COVID?
Well, I mean, a certain someone has. Just saying, you've got a cold.
Yes, I've got like I've got a gross. I've got a super mutant cold, so
Not good. Apologies if that offends anybody in the audience, but colds happen and we're dealing with it. So
I don't apologize. If my cold offends you, fuck off. Thank you.
Harsh words. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, you could go. I'm in my house. I'm in my house.
Fair enough. That's us told. Yeah. So I guess all
Oh
that
wait,
remains now is
no,
to
I'm
sign
on
off
the
for the
wrong
evening.
show. That's the wrong show.
Yeah, we do try to aim to have an episode out for the 15th, but things have happened, so we're a couple of days late. But all being well, we're back with you on the 15th of every month. So hopefully we'll be seeing you in a month's time.
What are we roasting next month?
I have no idea, but we will announce something on the socials shortly once we've decided. So we'll let you all know soon.
Follow us on Twitter. Once we get 100 followers, I'll start the Instagram.
Yeah. Get us on Twitter at the roast. You'll see the same logo that's behind Julian right now, so you know exactly which account to look for. And maybe even offer us some suggestions on films that you want us to tear to shreds and to view and get our own opinion of. Who knows? It could work. But yeah, get us on Twitter and we'll be speaking to you in a month's time.
All right. So I'm Julie, the co-host of the roast.
The host with the most. And I'm Xavier. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it. And please,
I enjoyed it.
See you next month.
See you next month. Bye.
See you, everyone. Bye.